And all these attributes, we can give these attributes in Java too. These are written here. Now, if we want to define that same element in Java, what we have to do is that we have our XML code and our Java code. What we have to do is bind these two elements to get our whole application. So we have defined text view here. This is the name of the text view. Now we will be binding this with Java. Here we define a text view variable and we give it find view by ID and we write the ID of that particular text view. Now, if we want to change the name of that text view from Team Noga to something else, so what we do is we get that variable name text view dot set text. The set text function gives whatever text we have to put inside that particular box. Like if we give demo text view, then if the box is containing Team Noga written on it, then this command will replace it with demo text view. And same is the case for these codes too. Now let's come to the next topic, that is edit text. You have seen in Android application that in some section you have to input your name, your age, and all these input functions like email ID, password, and other stuff. These things are commanded by edit text function. So this is as you can see, this is the XML code for that edit text. So same things happens here too. This is the name of that particular edit text. We can assume edit text as a box too. This is the name of that box. Layout fit is same. We can give it wrap content or match parent depending on our preferences. Now we have the text, what we want to show in that edit text view, and the input type. So you have seen that in some parts in some input types we have to give the email, in some input types we have to give a phone number in some applications, and the keyboard automatically changes to that input type. Like if you have to input the phone number, the keyboard automatically changes to the whole number pattern, like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. So this input type helps to differentiate between those patterns. And these are the same attributes for this too. The padding that we want to give distance inside that box. The text color of the text we are inputting in that edit text. The text size, the size of the text that we want in our screen, and the background color. So here we have written the code hashtags 000. So we have different, these codes are for the colors. Like here hashtag 000 means that it is a black color. Hashtag FFF means it is a white color. You don't have to memorize all these stuffs. You just have to Google it and you'll find the color palette there, and you can find all the codes there too. Okay, so this is the Java code for it. Edit text, we have this edit text class. We define its variable. We define find view by ID. This find view by ID finds that particular view. Like in this case, we are finding the edit text with the name edit text. So r.id that name of that edit text. Now, like this is previous case, if we want to change the text inside edit text, then etext.setText, same command, the variable name .setText demo text view. Okay, so we have defined our edit text box here. Second thing that we want to do is like that we have defined that edit text box. Now we want to get what we are inputting in that text view so that we can perform particular function in it. Like if we are inputting email, then we have to get that email too. For that, we have this command, the variable name .get text, it gets the text, and now .toString, it gets the text in a particular code like structure, and when we write the command toString, it converts it to the string whole, and the whole string is stored in this variable of type string. So let me show you an example of edit text. Okay, so these are the edit text view. You can change your edit text view's appearance depending on your preferences, and we can do it by the attributes written in the XML code. Till here, do you have any doubt in it? Class?
No, sir, it's fine.
Oh, sir, it's fine. Okay. Just a moment. Just 1 minute. Hold on. Okay. So the next topic is buttons. Just a moment. We all have seen buttons in our particular text view. So, but what buttons really do is when we click on the button, it performs a particular action. That's common. Okay, so this is the XML code for that button view. So we have to write button and we have to give its width and height. These two are compulsory. Without this, we cannot write our code for button. And then the text attribute gives what we have to write on that button. Like in this case, we are writing add on that button section. This is the margin. So as I have mentioned that margin differentiates the distance between that particular box of button, that box that is containing the button, and the distance between the screen section. Like here, the margin top defines that we have to set the height of 109 dp of that button box from the top of our screen. If we have simply written layout margin is equal to 109 dp, then that should mean that the box that is containing the button text button view should have 109 dp of distance from all the sides, from top, left, right, and bottom. So like this, we have different attributes like margin top, margin left, margin right, etc. These are the extra attributes. Like if we want to increase the text size of what's written on that button, then we can simply increase by increasing the number from 40 to 50 to 60, like that. And we can change the text style too, like bold, italic, etc. We can change the padding is what's in padding is the distance of that text view in that button. So right now it can be a bit confusing, I know, but after this whole PPT session, we'll be having a practical. There you can clear all your doubts about it. This text color thing, it changes the text color of the text written on that button. The background changes the background of that button. Like we have a red button, then we can convert it into black button, into white button, etc. So this hash code 000, it defines white color, it defines black color, and hashtag triple F define white color. These two will be used frequently. And this is the Java code. So we have a button class 2, and we define a variable. We define the button data type for with the variable name button sum. Then we bind that XML data with the name button with this button variable with r.id.button. Now the other code here is button sum dot set on click listener. What it is doing is that we can assume it as a listener who is listening to our particular button section, like a particular waiter for a particular person. So if that person orders something, then that waiter will get fetch data for that particular person only. So like that, we can assume for this button too. This set on click listener is wiring a listener to that particular button, and when the view on, and this new view on click listener is an instance of the function. So okay, so it's getting a lot messy. So only assume that this code is like an ear for that button. Whatever that button's commands, whenever that button gets clicked, then this function will be called on click. And like here, whatever we have to do with the button when we click on that button, we can simply show it here. Like here, it is showing a toast. And a toast is something that if you enter a wrong password, then something pops up and stays for a second and then disappears. A toast is something like that. So it is showing a toast. We have some common attributes for this too. Then we have an image view. So the images that you see on a particular section of your UI, it's defined by the image view. It contains an image, and as you can see, we have some same attributes for this too, like the ID, simple image view. We have it like simple image layout width, layout width. You can neglect it right now. We'll cover it up in the practical session. You can assume right now that we have only two: wrap content and match pattern. Wrap content wraps around that particular section of what we are defining, and match parent covers the whole screen on the particular width and height. So we have a new code here for the image view, that is Android SRC. What it does is that it simply takes the image that is stored in the particular part of our computer. Like here, it's stored in drawable. So if you have simply roam around your Android Studio, then you have seen different folders there, like the layout folder, like drawable folder, and some styles folder, some strings folder. So this is one of them. The drawable folder contains all the icons, all the vector images, every graphic element that we see in our Android application. The drawable folder contains that. So we have an image of a lion in our drawable folder. So what we do to show that image is simply write the address of that. So @drawable and the name of that file. Here we have to note something that we can't randomly write the name of any image. Like if we write loin dash something, that name will not be considered. It should be in a particular format, like a simple lowercase name with a simple lowercase name will be enough. And these are the attributes for it. Layout margin, as we have seen, there are two types of there are two attributes for covering the distance: the margin and the padding. Can someone tell what's the difference between these two? Hello? A simple yes or no. Hello? Yes sir. सर आवाज आपकी काफी धीमा आ रही है.
Your voice is low, Phoenix.
Okay, so we consider it as a no. So I'm giving you a little hint about it again. So assume we have assume we have two layout screens. We have two phones. In one of them, we are defining the margin equal to 10 dp, and in the other one we are defining padding is equal to 10 dp. So what we are doing is that here padding means that 10 dp of distance will be given inside that view, and on the upper side too, and on the lower side too. And here 10 dp of margin means that margin will be given to that box from the UI, from the screen corners of that particular phone. So jumping to the next part. So this attribute is called scale type. So we have different type of scales in our image view. Like mostly we use center crop. What it does is that we have our image in different aspect ratios, and what it does is that it gives a common 1:1 ratio to that particular image and covers the whole screen with it. And like that we have different image view scale types. Fit XY fits the image, fits all the corners of the image to that particular box of that image view, and you can explore the other stuffs too. Second is the list view. List view is used when you want to display list of data. Like you want to display the list of roll numbers, you want to display a list of anything. So as we have seen in all our codes, we have an XML and Java codes too. So in this list view, we have an ID, layout width, layout height, and other thing that have to be mentioned in the list view is the format in which we are showing the particular data. Like if we are showing the roll number and name of a particular person, or if we are simply showing the name of that person in a list, then we have to create an XML file of that particular thing too, like text view of that name. And in Java, we have array adapter. The adapter part will be simply consider array adapter as a list, that the data that we are getting from the list view, that array adapter is managing all the data and showing it on the screen. Simply imagine it right now like this. And this list view, we are defining the list view. We are defining the list view here, and we are putting the list of mobile array data in it, and we are setting the adapter with its variable name adapter. Second is the recycler view. We can see recycler view as the advanced version of list view. In list view, so same almost same code is for recycler view too, but with few changes, like where we have the name and the scroll bar, the scrolling time we are enabling in it, the layout width and the layout height. Here too we have a particular section for the type of data we are showing. Like if we are showing only the name, then we can simply put text view, and this text view will manage all the names. So here is the Java code for it. We first define a data type recycler view and then bind it with the XML part. Then we have the adapter that manages the data that we give. Like here we are giving my list data, that's an array list or an array, and that's the part of the adapter. Set has fixed type, size. Let's not consider this right now. Recycler view set layout manager. This layout manager manages whether we want to show our list in vertical manner or the horizontal manner. So here we set the adapter, we set the adapter that manages the data. We set the layout manager that manages whether we are showing the vertical data or horizontal data or a staggered data. The staggered data can be assumed as what we see on Pinterest, like we have different scales of images lying on left, right, top, bottom. Then we have the code for the list view adapter. This can be overwhelming right now, but it will be explained in detail in the next session. So that will give you a clear idea about what is the list adapter. Simply assume it as what we get data from, what we get as a list data. It manages all the data on the screen and shows it. So here we are getting the data in the form of array list. This list is defined. Then we have on create view. We have few functions like on create view holder, on bind view holder, get items count, and we have a static class of view holder. So what this on create view holder does is that it creates like here we have mentioned element that contains text. Like if we want to show the list of text, then we are getting a code for it that contains a single text view that will show the name. So what it is showing, what it is doing is that it is creating a particular box. You can consider it as a box, and it is inflating. You can consider it as a box, and then that box is sent to view holder. So what view holder is doing is that we are assigning particular sections for particular data that has to be put here. Like in this section, that box is containing a single name, and that can be managed by a single text view. So as you can see, we are assigning a particular section of text view here, and that can be assigned by item view.find view by id r.id.text view. And second thing is here is get item count. What it does is that it simply gets what the size of that list is that we are getting. Other function is on bind view holder. So we got a box. We assigned that what type of content will be put in that box, that is text view. Now what we do is we take that box and we give it in the on bind view holder, and this bind view holder assigns data to the things that are inside that box. Like in this case, we have a single text view, so we are assigning a single text in this here. So what we are getting is in the position of that particular name, and we are assigning that data here with holder.textView.setText. So just get an idea from here. It will be cleared ahead from here right now. So if list view, so here you can ask a question like, what if recycler view and list view shows a list of data, then what's the difference between them? The first difference is that recycler view, as I have mentioned before, recycler view is the advanced version of list view. So view holder patterns are not supported in list view, but we can support it with a little of bit of customization. But here we have a mandatory view holder pattern that we have to give, so it has a better performance with it. Second difference is the layout management. Here in list view, we can only show vertical list that you have to scroll up and up or down. And here, as I have mentioned, we can get a list, a horizontal list, a vertical list, or a staggered grid, and or a grid too. A grid is simply, you can consider it as an n cross n matrix. And second is the adapters. So we have all you can get is that we have a more advanced adapter here, which which can be notified about the changes that has been made on the list view. We can get the position of a particular element in that list view. We can get a position of different things. So you can consider this adapter as a modified part of a list view. And list view doesn't support so much changes and so much notification features. So we mostly use recycler view as a list view. Now we have talked about the elements. Now how to arrange them. So for that we have layout parts. Like here we have a linear layout. What linear layout does is that here, as you can see, we have 3 buttons and they are arranged in 2 different manner. So what linear layout does is it arranges the layout in a linear manner. Like if we can arrange our 3 buttons in a vertical manner or in a horizontal manner. So that orientation is defined from here. This attributes of Android orientation defines whether we want to show it in a vertical manner or a horizontal manner. The same code is here for layout width and layout height too. And this linear layout, when we create the code for a linear layout, now inside it we can pass our UI elements that can be a text view or an image view or a button. Here we have 3 buttons. The first code is for the first button, the second code is for the second button, and the third code is for the third button. If you rearrange this code, like if you arrange this last code on the top side, then this button will also go from bottom to top. And same thing happens for this too. The buttons start arranging from left to right for the horizontal view too. Second type of layout is relative layout. Now, if you want to create a layout where you don't want a linear arrangement, but you want to arrange your UI elements by your choice on this screen, wherever you want. So there linear relative layout comes in handy. So assume relative layout as a parent layout where you can put child element wherever you want. You don't have to assign it linearly. Like here we have assigned enter your name, new button, and second new button. So what we have done here is we can assume here, okay. Linear layout, just 1 second. Okay, so consider this as a mobile screen. We have a button here. We have a text view here. We have a text view here as well. So we can't have this arrangement with linear layout. If we want to have this arrangement, it will be a really mess to do this. But we can easily do this with relative layout, where this whole screen is its parent and these elements are its children. So what we are doing is we are assigning the distance of it. Like here we are assigning the distance of it. Like here we have assigned it to be at the bottom left corner. We have assigned it to be at the bottom right corner. We have assigned it to be on the top right corner. So we have attributes for these two. Second type of layout is constant layout. You can consider constant layout as a advanced version of linear layout. Like there in in advanced version of relative layout, sorry. So there you have to assign that you have to get that particular view element on the top right corner or the bottom right corner or the bottom left corner. Here you can simply drag and drop your layout element. Like if you simply drag and drop an image view and put it here, we assign its position. Now, second step, what we have to do is, as you can see from the name, it is a constraint layout. So we have to give a constraint on the vertical part and the horizontal part. So we assign that this image should not move this much. This image should not move on the top from the top at this much distance. So what we do is simply here is the button. We have 4 buttons, circle type buttons here on each layout in constraint view. What we do is simply double tap on it and extend that line on the horizontal side and on the vertical side, and that element is fixed there. So it is a much easier from the previous 2 layouts, as it is a simply drag and drop type system. We have the similar codes for this too. Now comes the section for the Java part, that is activity. So as you can see from the definition, an activity represents a single screen with a user interface, just like a window or a frame of Java. That is similar to C, C++, Java programming. And it has a function called onCreate. It has different functions, but you can consider onCreate as a main function. Like if you have coded in Java, then you have seen that we have a main function that executes all the code. So here we have the similar type of function called onCreate. Your whatever code you have written for your particular screen, it all starts from the onCreate function. And this activity, we have different activities. Whatever you see on a particular screen, whatever you see on a screen, that screen is a single activity. When you click on a button, it goes on another screen. That's another screen is another button, another activity. So like that, we have different activities, and we have different codes for the activity as well, like on create, on start, on resume, on pause, on stop, on destroy, on restart. Let's talk about it. So you open your application. Your application gets launched with a particular activity. Now it calls the onCreate function. Your whatever is written on the onCreate function is gets executed, and then it calls the onStart function. Whatever code is written on the onStart function gets executed, calls the onResume function, and when the onResume function code gets finished, the activity starts running. This happens really quick, so you can't see it, but these things are happening inside that particular screen. So now we have a condition like another activity or application takes its place. So then the pause function is called, and that activity pauses at that moment. Now, if that particular screen takes over and we do not return to our previous screen, then that screen gets destroyed. That app process gets killed. And if we call that screen again, then the whole system will be called again. But if we return back to our screen, then it starts from the onResume. As you have seen, the onCreate and onStart have already called, so we don't have to call that again. So if you, for example, if you click on the home button and you stop your app right there and you see all your applications that you have run before, then it goes on the on pause section. Now, if you return to your application, then it again resumes from the on resume. But if you go to another application, then it kills that particular screen, and now our screen code runs from on creates again. Now, second is the on stop. So we can consider on stop and on destroy as if we close our application, then on stop method is called and the application gets killed. And on destroy on stop method stops the application, and on destroy method kills that particular UI and the activity shuts down. So it can be a little overwhelming, but with time and with experience we will get to know about it really well. Now comes the manifest.xml part. You can assume manifest as the hello.